Hello guys, my name is Arun Tyagi, and let's take our discussion to next step. And today we'll discuss factory pattern. Factory pattern is actually having two categories, you can say two types. You can say one is your abstract factory and one is your factory method pattern, right? Two different types to serve two different purposes actually. And I'm trying to take a similar example in both to show you that how one can uh, extend and can be used with the second one. Okay, so let's first discuss about our factory method pattern, right? To just simplify this definition, the definition is a little bit long, so it can sound a bit cryptic. uh, Simplification is that we need a method, right, which we will use as a factory to, sorry for that, yeah, which we will use as a factory to create the instance of our object. So we already discussed in a builder that rather than using constructor, why we should use a separate thing, just pass on that responsibility on separate thing to do creation. Reason is more or less similar here also, right? But here we will use a function to rather than so in builder also you are actually creating object in parts. So here we will not create object in parts, we will actually create the complete object in one go. But here we will use a function to do that, right? And we are calling it a method, which is nothing but a factory for me because it is creating the instance for me. So for the scenario to discuss this pattern, I'm taking an example of again same pizza, right? But here I will just not talk about the properties of it, but the functionality also, right? So let's just jump into that how we can implement. I'm not talking about that without factory what can go wrong and all. This is more or less the limitation of constructor, which we already talked about, right? So it's kind of a similar. So now let's take here for example we took a product which is pizza, right, for which I want a factory, right, to create, which is having some properties and some functionalities. And this is also having a basic definition that how to create a pizza. To create a pizza, what exactly I will do. So I will do some steps. So I'm simply created a you can say an abstract definition which others concrete classes can override it, because we know that this product can be of different type. So obviously what we will do is we created an abstract thing, and then you will have separate concrete instances which will give their definitions of each and every functionality, right? So these things are simple, that you can bake, and then a definition of bake is inside this. Then you can cut, you can box, and all these things can be different for different type of pizzas. So first thing is like you should have an abstract type, and then you inherit it to define your concrete types. That is what we did here. Like if today your store is having only one type of pizza, and tomorrow you are introducing something new, so you can just simply add something new using this inheritance here again. And you can give your definition that I'm having a Sattvic pizza. For Sattvic pizza, my name is this, my dough is this, my sauce is this, toppings are this, and other functionalities, right? So you can give your concrete definitions here. So this is kind of a rule of thumb, that always try to have abstractions, decoupling from never pass this tightly coupled concrete types in your to your clients. Always pass abstract, always pass abstraction of everything, right, as much as possible. Now these are the real thing which we want to talk, the creators or factories, people call them directors also, right? Now here we did the same thing, that again first we created a store which is nothing but, you can say, a factory holder, because my factory is a method. So this is a factory holder actually, and this is an abstract factory holder, right, which I will pass to my client, which we will they will use it to basically create, to get the object, not create the object, get the object from it. They don't know that inside factory what is happening. They will just call that I want this, right? So this director or creator will actually have a method, this method we are calling it a factory. This method is a factory for me. Whenever I will call this guy will give me a type. This guy will give me a concrete, object, right, of whatever product we want. Also, to add that, this a creator, or director can have further sophistications on it. For example, we created an order pizza, and this is a very real life example. This is what we do. As a client, what we do, we go to store. So here we got the object of a store, and then in that store we simply call order pizza. That is what we do. This is very real life, right? But try to map it in your code. That's not very easy, right? Try to map it in your code. So when you are doing order pizza, what this guy is doing, first it is using the factory to get the product, and then it is doing further things on it, right? Once you got the product, then I need to do all these things before I ship this to my client, right? These are the further things which I need to do. I don't need to give a raw product to my customer and then ask customer to do further things, right? So this is acting as a further sophistication or another layering on it to do further jobs which I don't want to do with my creation, right? So this is an abstract creator, and then we will have obviously concrete creator. So that is why we didn't give any definition of create pizza factory method here, because we want whoever is a concrete creator, they should give their definition. So here we created an Indian pizza store, and that Indian pizza store, because it is having different type, like right now there are 2 types of pizzas, so they will call the creation. So this is where we are calling the constructor. So this constructor, we are never exposing this to my client. We are not exposing this to other things. We are actually, this is where we will use the constructor to create that concrete type. And that's what we did. We had a base pizza, and then we had concrete types of pizzas. So this guy will use those concrete types and ultimately will serve the object, right? And then my creator or director is actually using it to pass it to the client. Same way, we can actually have multiple creators, multiple concrete creators. Today we are talking about Indian pizza store, then we can have Italian pizza store, and Italian pizza store will have different types of pizzas again, right? So if you can make a class diagram of it, how it is happening, then that you are having an abstract store or an abstract director creator, then every creator is actually having concrete creators, and concrete creators are having concrete definition of factory method, and then those factory method are using concrete objects, the real product objects, to serve it. This is how we are passing it, right? So it sounds a little bit complicated, right? But it is actually very simple. That to serve a project, if you want, if you can, then you should provide a factory method to create that object, and that obviously that creation is separate from the real object. We are not providing that method. So see, we can also provide that create object inside my product itself, that I can have a static function here which can create the instance of it and serve, like we normally do in singleton class, right? But here we are passing that responsibility, we are segregating that responsibility to other creators, right? Which is important and powerful. All right, we are not creating too much responsibility on the main product, the main object, you can say. Okay, so that's it in this factory method. Now let's discuss about abstract factory, that how it is different from this, why we have two factory methods, how it is different, and where we can use that. First of all, let's go to the definition. So abstract factory pattern provides a way to encapsulate a group of individual factories and then have a common way without specifying their concrete classes. This is actually, it is talking about the real abstract factory meaning, right? That you should not specify the type of your concrete classes, and then also you should be able to encapsulate the different type of creations, so different type of factories inside one. So actually a factory method can be used inside abstract factory pattern. Okay, so here I'm trying to, what I'm doing is I'm actually extending the same example, and in my pizza creation, like if you go in any creation, for example in Indian pizza store, we had two types. So if I go to Sattvic pizza, I need all these things: my dough, my sauce, my toppings, right, name, etc. So if I want all these ingredients, so here I'm doing passing everything hard coded, right? What if I have a pattern, I should say a source which will provide me these things? So I will be able to use those source, and obviously if I will have abstract, I will be able to use the source here and here both. Let's just see that how we can do something like that. What we want is, in my final product, in my pizza, and obviously I'm creating this pizza using my factory method pattern. But now to create all these things, I can actually have a factory which can provide me all these ingredients, right? And once we read this, just go to just check out the book Head First, right? I took this example from there, and they actually have very good examples to explain all the design patterns. Coming back, if I can have something like this, then what I can do is, then I can have more power in my hand. I need not to change this object every time whenever I need to change the ingredient of it, right? And we always talk in patterns, if you will see, mostly we talk about how to decouple, how to pass abstractions, how to avoid concrete things, right? So here also, if I want something like this, I can have a factory which is an abstract factory. Why it is abstract is basically, for my new Indian pizza, there is some factory. There is some factory which is providing me ingredients, right? For my Italian pizza, again, I need to use the same, factory. Otherwise, I need to write this concrete type. So here I'm actually using an abstract factory here, which is providing me all the types of ingredients. Now, how we are achieving this? So this is how we are using it, but how we are achieving this? What we did is, first we created an abstract factory, a simple interface, right, where we defined what are the all things a pizza ingredient factory should have. It will create dough, it will create sauce, it will create cheese, vegetables, other toppings, etc., right? This is just the abstractions. Now all your concrete ingredient factories will have their definition, that how this Indian factory can create dough, right? How this Italian or some other ingredient factory can create dough, right? How somebody can this factory should create sauce. Like in India, maybe we use some different type of sauces, but when we go to Italy, maybe they're using different ingredients, right? So these factories should have that concrete definition, that this is how I will do it, right? And when a product is using it, they will simply call their function, that abstraction dot create dough, right? And ultimately you will get that particular result which you want. This is very real live example. That is why we are able to connect that. Obviously we are going to a store, then we are ordering pizza. Pizza is actually having different ingredients, so it will call their ingredients, right? And obviously even different type of pizzas can use different type of ingredient factories in the same store as well, right? So that also we can achieve using it. But if you take examples in your code, so think of something like when you are working on data access layer, right? You are serving different type of entities, to a product, right? So can you use abstract factory there to serve your entities, right? So try to check in your code that if you are if you are passing a family of products, right, another product, that can use an abstract factory there. So here, so we talked about that we will create concrete factories. Now your creator, your pizza store, back to your pizza store again. When this guy will call your, the type of your object, that I want to create this object, I want to create this object. This guy will pass the factory, ingredient factory. That I'm giving the ingredient factories, use all the ingredients from this factory, and we are done, right? Tomorrow if you want to change, right, if let's suppose even in India, rather than using Indian ingredients, maybe I want to use some other add-ons, I can pass that factory, or I can change the definition easily into this factory, and pizza need not to know about it, because everything is changed here only, and you are simply using the same facade, same abstraction, and we are good to use it continuously without breaking anything. So yeah, that's it. The abstract factory and factory method pattern, right, is just that to create a product, and to create a product we can use a factory method pattern, and to serve multiple objects of same family, we can use abstract factory, right, where you need not to define the type, and you should be able to encapsulate the entire creation into one class, right? That is what we try to do. Please check out the description box for the code. Just download the code, use it, play with it, and in your code, wherever you are working, if you see in your file, if you see that in place of whatever, however I'm using a constructor, can I use a pattern there, right? Try to pose a scenario, just ask question that you're not feeling comfortable in using that. Maybe we can help each other there. And thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.